This this week I am ready. Remember
Okay.
last week I did not have baseball cards. I
Oh
got
yeah.
baseball cards. Remember last week I was attacked by two evil flies? Look at this.
I love it. The big
Yeah,
fan.
yeah, I'm ready. So I am so ready for this show. It isn't even funny. Um, you want to know what else isn't funny? The way the Cubs have come out in the second half. Ha ha! Get there in a
Well,
minute.
it's a little bit funny.
You gotta laugh, otherwise you'll cry. I do want to remind you all to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. You can contact us at one Cardinal, one Cub, one beer, or excuse me, I screwed that up. One card, one cup, one beer at gmail.com. Please, please, please subscribe to our page. Those of you who are watching on the YouTube channel, subscribe to our channel by hitting the icon in the bottom right-hand corner. If you're watching on your TV, when you get to the end of the video, you can actually subscribe there. There'll be a little circle you can subscribe to. And so there's a few other ways you could subscribe rather than watching it on a Mac or a PC. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm using a lot of words to say very little. Also, please support us on Patreon. You can start with just $3 a month, and that will fund JG and I our goodwill trip to South America to spread the news on baseball. We are going to go to Paris. We're going to have a stadium built there, put a major league team there. And then for the fun of it, we are going to build a dome stadium on the continent of Antarctica. So we
Oh
have a lot
yeah.
in the hopper that you're going to want to support us through by supporting us on Patreon. JJ, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been raining, and I'm not supposed to open an umbrella inside, but I got the Cardinal umbrella here, and I hypnotize people. All the negativity out there. It's like a Jedi mind trick right there. I've been using my umbrella to bring positivity to Cardinal Nation out there.
You guys are going to catch us in Pittsburgh.
We
You're,
got Pittsburgh. We're tied with them right now.
yeah, you've tied Pittsburgh. You're going to catch us next. We're only like 2.5 games, and the way we've come out of the blocks is I'll get into it. Go ahead and tell us the good news in Cardinal land.
Well, we had a winner for our contest for the All-Star game. We had 10 people enter the contest. We only had 2 people pick the National League. And Vince, I don't know what you thought, but I thought it was a great All-Star game. That was fun.
It was. I loved it.
I loved it. And so first of all, our winner, we had 2 people say National League. One said 9-6 National League. One said 5-3. And that was Corby Baker from Park
Corby
Hills.
Baker, that cheater, that time traveler who can go into time, see what's going on, and he wins horse races, sporting events, and now this.
He's winning it all. That's right.
Next time you put a disclaimer on any contest that you cannot be a time traveler.
And no Corby Baker. No, we love Corby Baker. He actually has challenged us to the trivia. He said, I would like to. Oh, yeah. He's talking smack now. He's 1 in a row. He wants to come up and do the trivia. So,
all right. I'll tell you what. Trivia is on hiatus because of Max's work schedule during the summer. But when he goes back to Kirksville and we start this up again, you're going to be the first one.
All right, Corby Baker, you heard
there
that.
There will be no future questions that you can cheat on. It's all going to be in the past. So we're going to be on equal footing here.
My favorite moment of the All-Star game, before we get the Cardinal news, is there was a moment when Ohtani was at bat and the Seattle fans were basically chanting, "We want you come to Seattle," or "We want you, Ohtani." I thought that was a great moment in the game right there.
That was funny. That was great.
That was really good. Well, I got Cardinal news. Let's see here. Well, the first news is the Cardinals have released Genesis Cabrera, and we got him in a deal. Go ahead.
I was surprised. I know he's having a terrible season, but with that kind of stuff, a contender will give him a shot.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that said the problem with the Cardinals is they should have got something for him instead of just releasing him. And I kind of agree, but I didn't know if anybody really what we could get for him. Of course, my friends think we're going to get one of their top 10 minor leaguers. I don't see that happening, but maybe somebody. And we just let him go. But I was looking at stats. He was one of the centerpieces of the Tommy Pham deal when we traded Pham to Tampa Bay at the time, and we got he was the main guy in the trade. But every year his statistics just have went down. And in 2020 his ERA was 2.42, and 2021 it was 3.73. In 22 it was 4.63, and this year was 5.06. And I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but there was times he'd get into it with the manager, and at times he could shut the other team down, but then there was times he just couldn't throw a strike to save his life. So I wish him well, and that was a nice. I wish it had worked out. You fall in love with all these players, and you want to see them all do good, but they split ways with Genesis Cabrera. And like you said, Vince, I was kind of surprised we didn't get anything for him. We just pretty much released him there.
Let me ask you this: what team? There are two teams I'm thinking of that have great pitching labs that could use him right now for a playoff push.
Well, I know the Dodgers have a lot of injuries.
Dodgers are one.
I can see the Dodgers. Plus, he's a Hispanic guy, and they have a lot of Hispanic players on their team. Another team that's going for a playoff push, possibly Minnesota. Maybe Minnesota over there.
I wasn't thinking Minnesota, but I'm talking about teams that have renowned pitch labs. I'm thinking the Astros may be a good fit for him.
Oh, yeah.
We had a pitcher that was much like Cabrera a few years ago. He was our closer until we got Aroldis Chapman in 2016, Hector Rondon, and he just started falling off the table like Cabrera. And then he goes to Houston, revives his career, and is a setup man, late inning guy. I think he's retired now. I don't think he's around anymore. But Houston extended him a couple more years. Great stuff, just like Cabrera. When he got to Houston, it straightened out for him. And that's why I'm thinking this looks like a Dodger or a Houston type thing. Dodgers are probably the best fit because of the injuries, but someone's going to pick him up and try to work with him.
Anybody that has that kind of stuff, they're going to take a chance on him.
Yeah,
I see that. Yeah, I'm disappointed. All teams have guys that other teams gave up on, and they go to that team and they have, rebirth of their career or something like that. I remember Jim Cott. We got him in the 80s, and he became just a specialty pitcher to left-handers. Did fantastic. We won the 82 World Series, and he was a big part of it. We had a Weaver. We got one year, and that's when we had Dave Duncan, who was fantastic at reviving pitchers' careers, and of course Yachty. So anyway, well, I wish him the best. The Cardinals did sign their number one draft choice, Chase Davis. We had thought about drafting him when he was a high school kid, but we got him in his junior year at the University of Arizona. So July 15th, he was out at the ballpark, signed the contract, took some batting practice. So I hope to see him up in the big leagues here in 2 or 3 years. And another outfielder. The Cardinals have a lot of decent outfielders, so we'll see what happens with him. The Cardinals, I had the umbrella a while ago. We've been hit with a lot of rain lately, and coming out of the All-Star break, we won 2 out of 3 against the Nationals, who are they're kind of in the same boat we are, but we took 2 out of 3. Should have took 3 out of 3. Our bullpen blew one of the games, but a lot of rain delays in there. We lost the first game. Michaelis was pitching basically it's 9 up, 9 down. The first 3 innings, this big rain delay came, and the bullpen came in, and of course they lost the game. We pulled ahead and just blew it at the end, but we won game 2 and game 3, and then last night against the Marlins, we beat them, and our offense is red hot right now, and it seems like we're going with a 4-man rotation. It seems like, because Michaelis pitched game 1, he came back in game 4 and pitched again. So we've won, 3 out of 4 and 6 of our last 8, and we have caught the Pirates. So no longer are we in last place. We are tied for 4th with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So let's see what happens there. Offensive explosion. I tell you what, Willie McGee has done a good job with some of these outfielders that were all bats. Burleson was in the outfield the other night and caught a ball over the wall. He brought it back, and that was really good to see. And Jordan Walker, who's primarily a third baseman, I don't know if you saw this play, Vince, but he laid out and caught a ball like a Superman catch over in right field that they played over and over on all the Cardinal broadcasts. And it was really, that's the best play he's made because his defense was a little suspect, but he's hitting the cover off the ball, and his exit velocity is like 100, 110 off his bat, even on a ground ball. So I like his progress. He's coming along really well. Let's see. Trade talks. I can't even start talking about trade talks because Vince are talking about trading the whole team. And like we said before, except for Walker, I might be open to any player that would make our team better in the long run. And of course, Mozeliak had a big press conference and he said, pitching, pitching, pitching. So let's see what happens, because some of these, a lot of teams are going to be buyers with all these extra playoff teams making the playoffs. The Cardinals are sellers apparently, but I think Mozeliak just isn't going to take anybody. And of course, if we don't get anyone halfway decent or a good prospect, the fans are going to, Mozeliak lied to us. But until you see what the deals are, and sometimes you got to go right up to the last minute because teams get desperate. They think they can get a better deal somewhere else.
Let me ask you this. The Cardinals, this is kind of shifted a little bit because Milwaukee has come out the second half hot, took care of business with Cincinnati. After the All-Star game, they were down by 2 games. Now they're up by 2 games. Cincinnati's kind of, I don't want to say predictably, but I'll say predictably because I predicted it. Their pitching start to show some
fade a little.
They're just not a good staff. After Hunter Green, they have a hard time holding teams down. So it does look like the Brewers are going to kick it into high gear and probably win this thing. Well, let's say that everybody was still meddling like they were before the All-Star game. Would you rather be a buyer and try to win a weak division and probably have a hard time in the playoffs, or would you rather sell, call this year a wash, and just try to improve for the future? What would you do if you were the general manager?
Probably sell. But if somebody fell in our lap, like I have to say, Goldie, we got him for nothing. And Arenado, they paid for his first year of his contract. If something like that happened, then if the baseball gods, if it aligned where, we got this guy and that guy, and here we are, we're in it, I'd say go for it. But what's probably going to happen is we've got so many outfielders and we got so many young players. We're going to have to make a decision on some of them. And if we can get some pitching for next year, an ace, we need an ace. We got a lot of 3s and 4s. We need an ace. And a lot of people have been talking about Snell or Nolan, the kid from the Phillies. One of those kind of guys. Oh, that would be great. So we'll see. I say sell, though. To answer your question, I would say sell. And Vince, I'm going to give you credit here. You're a great predictor. He's a better predictor than I am. You said about I'm giving it. I applaud you. You said these new rules will bring more fans in. And there's been some statistics that came out this week that the average fan age now in baseball has come down 6 years just since these new rules have went to effect. All the attendance is up. TV attendance, people watching on television, has went up. So it's been a win-win. There are a few rules I'm still not crazy about. We'll talk about that some other time, but it seems to be working. And I
think it's not just the rules. The World Baseball Classic was such a hit, so exciting. I think that those two things combined reinvigorated the general population's interest in baseball. It's much more comforting to know that you can go to a ball game and it be done in 2 hours and 20 minutes, and to think, maybe here for 3+ hours. It's just, I like watching baseball, but I don't like watching it at a slow pace. I really enjoy the pace of things sped up. Speaking about the attendance, Did you see who was number 2 in attendance in Major League Baseball?
I was going to mention that. Yes, I did. I was very proud of that. The old
Okay.
St. Louis Cardinals, number
I
2.
I was just talking to my wife. We talk once a month, I think. So we got that out of the way. My
You're
wife
good for
is a
July.
Cardinal fan. I had that graph on TV and I said, look who's number 2. Oh, that's good. I said, it's good, but the Cardinals, they've been outed. They've got great revenue from attendance, but they're still not going to spend Otani money.
No, no.
They're not. They're just not going to do it. Even though they're making money hand over fist. And I think that's one of the frustrations that Cub fans and Cardinal fans do share is even though the Chicago Cubs are a little more generous with their payroll, there are times when the upper echelon, the Otanis, the judges last year, they're just, nah, I'm not going to go there. And I'm thinking, why not?
You could if you wanted. The Cubs could have if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it going to cost $60 million for Otani a year? Maybe, but you're getting 2 players for the price of 1, which also means you're going to open up another spot on your roster that doesn't need to be filled or that's going to need to be filled. So you're kind of getting an extra player because you got the 2 for 1 here. I just think economically, Otani makes sense at $60 million a year. Does it make sense for $60 million a year over 10 years? No, but considering his age, I think $60 million. He's probably going to get 6 or 7 years from somebody. I would overpay for the last few years to get this generational ball player, get him on a team that is going to make a serious playoff push because the Angels, it's been Otani and Trout, and let's see how far they can take us. They really have not supplemented with good pieces and decent pitching to get them there.
Even with the expanded playoffs, the Angels seem snake bit. Something always goes wrong, and they're just on the outside. I feel so bad for that. Actually, I don't. I feel too bad for them. But it's just there's so much talent out there, and they're a 4th place team. It's sad. Yeah. But with Otani, he would be worth the money you give him with the revenue. Selling the jerseys. They always be featured in the game of the week.
National revenue.
Oh yes. People would be coming from all over. Your attendance would go up. He's in his prime too, and
he knows it. He knows what he's worth. I think he's got a really great handle on what he's worth because someone asked him or maybe they asked his agent translator. I don't know. Someone from his party, a reporter asked, $50 million a year, and the answer was higher. And
yeah, let's be honest, it is money's why you play the game. I know there's a love for it too. But Vince, another thing I've noticed about baseball, which I'm very proud of them, they kind of took a page out of the NBA and the NFL. It seems like they're really marketing the faces of baseball now. I see so many, like not just local commercials, but big commercials. MLB Channel is another thing that they really promote these guys. Your average fan might know who Juan Soto is, and Otani and Mike Trout and all these players, So, when I was a kid, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
like or hate the Yankees, and I do hate the Yankees. They are so necessary for baseball because they are one of the top franchises in any sport worldwide. The Dallas Cowboys, the New York Yankees, DC United, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Yankees are in there. So you need a star in New York, and from a competitive standpoint, I didn't want Judge to go back there, but from a business standpoint, yeah, go back there. He's a great face for baseball. He and Otani.
Yes. You were talking about attendance. I did see this. The top attended team in baseball is the Dodgers, but that's the second biggest city in the United States, and they have the Angels down there too. But they're averaging 48,000 a game. That's incredible. The Cardinals 41,000, but the Cubs are in the top 10. They're 10, and Wrigley Field is a smaller field. They do have the rooftops out there too, but that's good. I mean, it's good for baseball. It's good for the Cubs, good for the Cardinals. Fans are showing up. The Cardinals, though, have incredible giveaways. I'll put them against any other team in baseball on their giveaways, and people get excited about the bob. Well, I go on and on about the bobbleheads and all the stuff like that, but they've got some every night. It's like they got a cool giveaway. You mentioned hated. The most hated team in all of baseball is the New York Yankees. There was another poll that came out. I like looking at all this, and the Dodgers are number 2 and the Astros are number 3, but the Cardinals made the list, and they're number 9. And I think that was a little pride, because you got to be good to be hated, or cheating in the World Series to win a World Series, one of the two. So number 9, I'll take that. We're in the top 10 of the most hated teams, so we must be doing something right. And then there was one more poll in there. Well, age. The youngest teams. The Cardinals are the 4th youngest team in baseball, which I didn't have any clue about. The Cleveland Guardians are the youngest team at 26 years and 8 months, but the Cardinals are 27 years and 7 months. So we're the 4th youngest team. And the thing about a young team, they've got exuberance and they take chances, but sometimes they're inconsistent. These younger teams sometimes, and I see a lot of that in the Cardinals, maybe diving for a ball they might have should have played. They try to do a little extra and they usually throw the ball away or something, but that's a mark of a young team. And the last thing I'm going to say about the Cardinals is I'm kind of sad and happy about this too. Vince, the next 2 weeks, we've got 4 in St. Louis against the Cubs and 4 in Wrigley against the Cubs, and then we're done. By the time we hit August, the Cardinals and Cubs are done for the year. Yeah. That's kind of sad, but it'll be fun the next couple of weeks with the Cubs and the Cardinals playing each other. And that's all I got on the Cardinal news.
Well, I do want to mention something else that's not related to Cardinal Cub news. Just a sad state of baseball in these two cities. In the bottom 5 in attendance, of course, Oakland is way down there. They're not even going to draw 1 million this year. That's sad. But in the bottom 5 are both Miami and Tampa.
Oh.
Tampa right now, second best record in baseball. They got off to that tremendous start, leading a very tough division. They still can't draw flies there. And Miami, a young, exciting team that is in the playoff hunt right now, and they can't draw there either. They are talking about building a new stadium in Tampa right next to the old stadium. Why would you do that? They couldn't draw there. I know a new stadium would have all the bells and whistles and be nice, but Miami has proven you can have a new stadium with a lot of bells and whistles. It's not going to attract people. There's the possibility of Tampa moving to Orlando. I'm not so sure that that's any better. I mean, Orlando to Tampa, that's what, an hour and a half drive.
Mm-hmm.
Orlando has so many other things during the summer people are doing. Disney World, of course, who knows if Disney World's going to stay in Florida the way things are there, but I don't know. I want to see Tampa move to Montreal.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah. And baseball does try everything to keep you there, but eventually, if it's just not working, you got to go somewhere else. Yeah, I'm with you.
You've got a team that's been in 2 World Series in the past 15 years that are perennially in the playoffs. You should still be able to draw more, even in a garbage stadium. And when the Astros were good there in the Astrodome, they drew. When Seattle was good in the Kingdome, they drew. You don't have to have a great baseball field. You have to have a winning team. And if fans aren't even showing up for a winning team, I don't care what kind of stadium you build. They give them a bump for a little bit, but eventually it is what it is.
Maybe it'll pick up during the pennant race and the playoffs. Maybe they'll pick up and really get rejuvenated these last couple months. I hope.
I hope something happens. Cub news.
Yay.
Our lone Cub, Representative Justin Steele, pitched 1 inning in the All-Star game. Should have been the All-Star game MVP. I think that 6th inning was the momentum changing thing. And the thing was, I mean, he was just kind of lobbing the ball. He's so good. He didn't have to throw hard. He just kind of pitched it underhand, for heaven's sake. Underhand, and he threw a softball. And he let them use an aluminum bat, and he let Otani bat every time. So.
And they moved the fences in for him.
Yes. And I don't know if you noticed, but none of his fielders came out when he pitched. He said, stay here. I got this. We are 1-3 since the return. And if you remember, I said last week, we have to go 11-6 up until the trade deadline. If we don't go 11-6, we're not going to be buyers, we're going to be sellers. Being we've decided that against the Red Sox are a pretty good team, but we had to win 2 out of 3. We went 1-2 against the Red Sox. On Friday's game, Hendricks got hit. A couple of those very warm, summery Wrigley Field balls went out that would have went out a few weeks ago. So he got pretty hard hit. We lost. Saturday, we won 10-4. Stroman pitched 6 innings, 1 earned run. So Stroman, the rest and skipping the All-Star break seemed to have done him good. And then Sunday, we had Justin Steele on the mound, and I thought we had a good chance to take 2-3 with Hendricks, Stroman, and then Steele. Steele did not pitch a bad game. 6 innings, pitched 5 earned runs. But there was a ball that was hit to Horner, and I could not believe they didn't call it an error because it's something that he should have caught. So 4 of those runs should not have been earned, but it was what it was. A couple of highlights. Bellinger is still hitting. He had a grand slam on Saturday. Looks like he's going to be a trade piece. He's hitting 300. He's slugging close to 900. His power's returned. He's stealing bases. He's fielding like a madman. So it looks like Bellinger is positioning himself. I mean, we can go 10-3 over the next 13 and still be buyers. I just don't see it. I see Milwaukee kind of putting it into gear right now, the way they took care of Cincinnati. But
looking good.
Also, good news in Cubland. Patrick Wisdom hit his first 2 home runs since May this week. So, the guy had 14 home runs right out, was leading the league in home runs, and then just fell apart. And so I guess he's back now. And something that has been not just concerning to me, but concerning to a lot of the pundits who cover the Cubs, we are getting terrible offensive production from 3 players that we cannot have terrible offensive production from. Horner is hitting 268 or something like that. He's got to hit 290. He's got to hit 285, 290. He doesn't have a lot of pop. His thing is to put the bat on the ball, and he's just in a terrible slump. And he had 2 errors in that game. 1 error. He should have had the second one that I've already talked about. But Horner just isn't producing offensively like he should be. Happ is having a terrible year offensively. He finally hit his 8th home run. He's first home run since the 2 home runs that he hit against the Cardinals in London. He's got 7 home runs. That's our corner outfielder that we extended. This guy has hit 25 home runs before. He should have some pop. We can't have him hitting 13, 14, 15 home runs. But the guy that's really frustrating me of the 3 is Seiya Suzuki. We put a big investment in him, and I don't know what it is with our scouting when it comes to the Asian ball players. Other teams always hit the jackpot. We can't see. Fukudomi, they come over and fizzled out. The pitcher, I never can remember his name, but he did have injury problems. But Suzuki was projected to come here, hit 20, 25 home runs. hit with a high average. That's what he did in Japan. This guy, he's got decent exit velocity off the bat, but for some reason, nothing's in the air. They're all hard ground balls that are easy double plays, right to the infielders. He's terrible. And we've locked him down. We've locked Hap down. We've got these two guys who aren't producing in the corner spots of our outfield where you have to have offensive production. That's why I think it is so important for us to be a major player in the Ohtani thing, because we're stuck with these guys who have no power. We need to get someone in here who can put the ball over the fence. Warner, he's probably just having a down year. He's probably just having a downtime. He'll probably pick it up. I like him as a ball player, but he hasn't produced this summer. Neither of these three players have produced this summer, and that's why we've had such an inconsistent offense. Hap finally hit a home run last night. Yippee-yi-yo, yippee-yi-yay. We still lost to the Nationals, by the way. So,
is it just they're hitting into bad luck? Are they chasing? What do you see that's different? Because these are your core guys for the next few years too.
Hap and Suzuki really aren't chasing. Hap has a ton of walks. He's like second in the league in walks. I don't have a problem with his on base, but he's hitting 245 and he's just not providing the power. He's not hitting the home runs. He's not hitting the extra base hits. Suzuki, I don't know what's wrong with him. He just cannot hit the ball in the air. I'll give you, I was watching the game, I think it was Sunday or Monday, was it last night's game? Hap has a ball at his eyes, and there's a runner in scoring position. That ball can't be hit on the ground. It's almost impossible to hit that ball on the ground. He hit to a double play. I don't know how a major league hitter can have a ball at his eyes, you swing at it, you make contact, and it not be at least a pop-up. Nope, somehow he hit to a double play. So that's my rant on the Cubs. We need to go 10-3 the rest of this month to be buyers, but I don't see it happening, and I see that Stroman and Bellinger are going to be out the door. I would rather us try to extend Bellinger because he is a solid bat that we can keep. If we get rid of him at the trade deadline, we bring Pete Crow Armstrong up to play center field for the rest of the year. However that shakes out, golly gee. Nothing against PCA, but they're always unknown before they get to the majors, you know. He may come up here and hit 150 and have one double the rest of the year. He may come up and hit 350 and bang 7-8 balls over the fence. I don't know. But Bellinger's a sure thing on offense, and right now he's the only sure thing we have on offense with Swanson on the disabled list. He and our second best hitter right now, Yan Gomes.
Wow.
Who would have thought that?
That's right. No, there a lot of talk about a lot of the Cubs getting traded. Gomes is one of the guys that's talking about in the trading, and Stroman and Bellinger. They're the ones I hear on all the baseball channels and everything. And talking about teams would really want those guys, you know, and you might get a lot for them. But if you had a big hitter in the middle, like an Ohtani or whoever, that I think they would clear up that, make the other guys better. That he'd be protecting them in the lineup.
If Ohtani is there hitting in front of or behind Hap, I'm fine with Hap hitting 250 because he walks a lot. He's got a high on base percentage. But Hap, we didn't sign him to an extension to be a table setter. We signed him to an extension to be a producer, and he's not producing. We're going to be spending. Let's say we get Ohtani. Okay, it's probably not going to happen, but let's say we get Ohtani. And Ohtani is batting in front of Hap, and Hap hits like he is this year. We're paying a lot of money for a table setter. We've given this guy an extension. We said, we believe in you. Whenever we didn't extend all these other all-stars, we believe in you. And this is what we're getting. And another thing that bothers me with our best RBI guy, aside from a Bellinger and Gomes, our best RBI guy is Swanson. He leads the team in RBIs. He's got an outside shot to hit 100 RBIs if he gets hot, but he's definitely going to hit, have between 70 and 80 RBIs, which is
That's a good year.
As minuscule as our offense has been, inconsistent and minuscule. That's pretty good. But we have him batting leadoff a lot, or second. I know he's not hitting home runs, but Jesus, he's putting the bat on the ball with runners in scoring position. Put him at third, fourth, or fifth and try to knock these runs in. Hap, who doesn't hit well with runners in scoring position, needs to be hitting leadoff because he does take all these walks. But Hap, the rumor is, I haven't heard it out of his own mouth, the rumor is, and I think this is true, Hap tried leadoff like 4 years ago and completely failed at it and said, I don't feel comfortable there. If I was Russ, I would say, all right, you need to get comfortable there because I'm not comfortable with you hitting third, fourth, fifth, sixth in this lineup and hitting under 150 with runners in scoring position. We can't have that. But Ross, not my favorite manager.
That's a sore spot for you, I know.
The manager I want for the Cubs is sitting on the bench in San Diego, and I want him on the Cubs. I want him to be our next manager.
And who's that sitting on the bench?
Schilt.
Oh, he would be. I love Mike Schilt too. Man, it'd be hard to hate the Cubs when Mike Schilt's over there. Yeah, we'd be pulling for him too. Yeah, he is a good manager. He's a good guy.
Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. You need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. Yeah. Well, we, at the beginning of the year, we did our predictions. And to show how completely stupid, at least I am, we're going to take this time mid-season and kind of go over our predictions and prove to everybody that we are definitely not time travelers.
No, we need Corby here. Straighten us out.
We do. So, JJ, why don't you tell us how you thought the National League East was going to shake out at the beginning of the year?
Well, I did pick the Braves to win that division. And
I know. I went over all of our picks today.
And I picked the Braves to actually go all the way to the World Series. I like how they built that team. A lot of young guys, gave them extra years on their contracts. I think that's the blueprint right there for if you're not one of these teams with a $300 million payroll, this is the way to do it. Bring up some good prospects, trade, get some guys, great pitching. They got tons of pitching coming too. This could be a really good team for a long time. So I picked the Braves. Number 2, Vince, well, here's where I don't know what I'm talking about. The Mets went out and spent so much money. I thought, well, the Mets are bound to finish second, but they're 18 and a half games out right now and in 4th place in that division. So I'm wrong with the Mets. The Phillies, I said 3rd place, and actually they're 10 and a half games out. So I'm wrong on the Mets and the Phillies. The Marlins are the surprise team, and I'm so happy for Skip Schumacher. I picked them for 4th, and right now they're in 2nd place in that division. And they're an exciting team, like you said a while ago. A lot of good young players. I think they're going to be good for years to come. I hope the fans show up. And so I picked them to finish 4th, and they're actually in 2nd place. And I was right on both ends on the sandwich. I sandwiched proper picks. I got the Braves for 1st and the Nationals for last place in that division. And they're actually, I think as of yesterday, they're like 24 and a half games back, or 29 and a half. I can't read if that's a 24. So they're pretty far back. So I got 2 of them right, and everybody else is flip-flopped in there. And I thought the Mets were really going to give the Braves a good run for their money this year.
Well, I picked the Mets to win the division because the stupid money they spent on talent And I should
Oh,
know
yeah.
better at the age of 56. I'll be 57 in a few weeks. I should have known better that, when teams spend a lot of money, it usually takes them a little bit to gel. But I was wrong there. That's fourth place, 18 and a half out. They're not going to make the playoffs this year. I picked the Phillies as a wild card team. The Phillies are 10 and a half games out. They're only a half game from the wild card. So that's a pretty solid pick.
Yeah.
I have the Braves. I picked the Braves third, and I did have them as a wild card team. And the reason the Mets, Phillies, and Braves I saw kind of top heavy. I didn't see a whole lot of games separating these two. Surprised me the Braves have taken off. One thing I did not trust with the Braves is that they were not the same team last year as they were the year before, and the issue was Freddie Freeman was gone, and I thought that they had a leadership vacuum with Freeman gone and now with Swanson gone. But I think one of the besides Acuna Jr., one of the MVPs of that team has been Sean Murphy coming in and being such an offensive / defensive force on that team. I picked the Marlins to finish fourth, but it was a strong fourth. I really like the makeup of their team and where they're heading. And they're second place, 10 games out, but they are the last wild card team in right now if the season ended today. And the Nationals are a terrible team, except when they played the Cubs last night. So
they're on the upswing. They got a few players there. They got a few. Well, do you want to go the center? You want to go Central first, and then I'll come behind you and talk about my picks. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the Central we had the exact same picks. I had the Cardinals finishing first. Not a good first half of the season for the Cardinals. I did have the Brewers second. I had the Cubs third, which is where they're at right now. The Pirates and the Reds for fifth. Right now, the Brewers lead the division by 2 over the Reds. They seem to be taking a hold. We are 8.5 games out. The Pirates and the Cardinals are in the summer right now, both 11 games out. So I really screwed that one up.
Well, I did the same thing. I picked the Cardinals to be the only playoff team from the Central. And Vince, I haven't totally given up yet. I know we're 11 back, but if we can get to maybe 8 games back heading into August and maybe within 5 games in September and make it a race, who knows? Pressure does a crazy things. We'll see. But I don't even know if we're going to make it with the team we have now. Maybe a bunch of who knows. But I picked the Brewers for second, and they're in first, and they're looking good. But I tell you what, their hitting just doesn't thrill me. It's their pitching. It's got them this far. The Cubs for third, and I think the Cubs will be in third at the end of the year. I still think that the Pirates are just, man, it's not that we caught the Pirates. The Pirates fell down to us. That's what happened there. And the Reds, I finished for last place, and I just don't think they can fall enough to pass the Pirates for last place. So I may have got Cubs was the only one I got right in that division, being in third place. Everything else is all cattywampus in that division. So
I did turn on a portion of the Reds against the Brewers the other day, and Ellie De La Cruz has kind of come back to earth, and that's kind of coincided with their slide. So
I think they've lost like 4 in a row right now.
Yeah, they've lost 4 in a row right now.
Yeah, and these pitchers, they'll find your weakness. They'll expose it. You got to keep adjusting. So, but he is a talent. That kid is going to be special right there.
Yeah.
Well, the West, because just like we were talking about the Mets, the Padres went out and got this all-star team together. And so many times in my lifetime, I remember when the Dodgers had Strawberry and Eric Davis. Well, they're just going to walk over everybody. And it was a complete disaster. Sometimes it just doesn't work like that. But the Padres I picked for first place, and they're actually 10 games out. I picked the Dodgers for second because I thought they were getting a little long in the tooth, and they let a lot of players go last year. And I kind of always thought the Dodgers let some players go to clear way for Ohtani. I kind of see him ending up with the Dodgers because it's just across town from the Angels, but that's my prediction on that. So I picked the Dodgers for second. I know. The Dodgers don't need no Ohtani. I would rather see Ohtani go to the Cubs than go to the Dodgers myself. So anyway, that's that. And then the
I would
Giants.
rather see Ohtani go to the Cubs than the Dodgers too. So we are right there.
We're in mutual, yes. Uh, third place, I said the Giants, and actually the Giants are in second place right now. They're only a game and a half behind the Dodgers. And I tell you what, it's a gritty team. They don't have the big stars. I like that team. And anyway, I picked the Padres and Dodgers to make the playoffs, and I picked the Giants for third, but right now they're in it. Fourth place, I picked the Diamondbacks, and the Diamondbacks are 2 back last time I looked, which was yesterday. And I tell you what, that team, a surprising team, a young team. They're playing with a lot of energy, and they're fun, and they're going to upset a lot of teams down the stretch. So look out for the Diamondbacks. I picked them for fourth, and well, as of Monday, they were in third, but they're right there with the other teams. And in last place, I picked the Rockies, and I did get that one right. So that's the only one I got right. And the whole division was the Rockies, and they're 18 games out right now.
Well, we were the same on this division too. I had the Padres winning it, Dodgers coming in second as a wild card team, then the Giants, Diamondbacks, and Rockies. And the Dodgers have kind of thrust themselves to the head right now. The Giants, a surprise team. I don't know why we're surprised. They're always competitive. And the Giants and the Diamondbacks are both have a wild card spot if the season ended today. Padres, I don't know if they're going to blow that up. Versus the Blake Snell is on the market, and boy, that he looked good in Cubby Blue. And the Rockies, led by Chris Bryant, perpetually rehabbing from something.
Yes.
I head scratcher. Why did they sign him to that huge contract? I don't know. Anyway, let's go to the American League where we have no stake in anything.
Yes. Want me to go first, or
I'll go ahead and go first.
Okay, you please.
I picked the Yankees, excuse me. I had the Blue Jays second as the wild card team, the Orioles third, a strong third. I had the Rays dropping down, and then I had the Red Sox, and I really thought this was the strongest division in baseball, and it has proven to be that. As of today, the Rays are in first place, and they are 1 game ahead of the Orioles, who do have a wild card spot if the season ended today. 5.5 ahead of the Blue Jays, who also has a wild card spot. The Red Sox are 8 games behind in fourth place, and the Yankees are in last place. So I will sacrifice my pick of the Yankees and happily pronounce that they are in last place.
My gosh, that place will be a riot. They'll be turning over cars and everything up in New York if they don't make the playoffs. I would love it. I do hate the Yankees as well. The Mets more than the Yankees. But I picked the Blue Jays. And I picked the Blue Jays to go all the way to the World Series and win the World Series. And they're still in it. They still got a chance. But I think that's a very good team. But the one guy that surprised me out of everybody is Alex Manoah, the pitcher. Last year he looked like a Cy Young candidate. This year he's fallen apart. They sent him to the minors. I think he's back now. But he was supposed to be a big part of their success this year. And he's just fallen. And that happens sometimes. He fell flat. The Yankees I had for second. And it's so happy to see them down at the bottom. Tampa Bay, I got that wrong, Vince. I had Tampa Bay third, Orioles fourth, and that's going to be a great race with these young Orioles that could be great for many, many years to come. And Tampa Bay, and it seems like they're starting to get a little stressed. And here's the Orioles sitting right on it's going to be a good chase. And I picked the Red Sox for last, and they're in fourth right now. So I didn't do very good with that division. I had Blue Jays, Yankees, and Tampa Bay all making the playoffs over there. So that's my pick.
Well, go ahead and do the AAA L Central.
This division might be worse than our division. Maybe. I don't know.
I think it is.
The top two are not bad teams. I picked the Guardians, the Cleveland Guardians. I'm a big Jose Ramirez fan. I picked them to win the division. And right now they're in second place. And second place, I picked the Minnesota Twins, and they're in first place right now, but it's very close. This is going to be a good race all the way to the end. The White Sox, I did pick for third, and right now they're in fourth, but they're just right behind the third place team. The Royals, was I wrong on this one? I picked them for fourth place, and they're the only if it wasn't for the Oakland A's, they'd be the worst team in baseball. So the Royals in fourth, and I picked last place. I picked the Tigers, and the Tigers are actually in third place right now. That I'm shocked. I didn't see them having any. Miguel Cabrera's, man, he's got pigeons on him. He don't move anymore, and they just have a bunch of young players, and they're, I think they're playing good ball right now. So anyway, I was right on the top two, but I've been wrong on the bottom three all over the place.
Well, for the Central, I picked the Twins to win it. They are in first place now, but it's kind of like this. There are 5 turds in the toilet, and the Twins are the prettiest turd right now. So,
the nicest guy in prison.
Yeah, I have the Guardians second. So I did get the top 2, so far correct. I had the White Sox finishing third, and they've been more disastrous than I ever imagined. They are in fourth. I had the Royals finishing fifth because I thought the Royals were a little more on the upswing than the Tigers. I thought with like Baez and Cabrera, I just thought this is kind of an older team. And Kansas City was going, besides Perez, who's really producing, they're really going used here. And I thought that, they'd be a little more of an exciting team. And they are an exciting team if you like watching teams get creamed. So I picking the Tigers last, and they're in third place. Not a great record, but it's a terrible division. So that's kind of been my surprise of the division. I'll finish up with the West. I picked a repeat winner, the Houston Astros, to win this division. They are currently in second place. They do have a wild card spot if the season ended today, 3.5 games back. And I picked the Marlins to finish second and the Rangers to finish third, and both those teams secure wild card spots. The Rangers are actually in first place, and they are looking like that this may be their year. That's a really good team. And I just think Bruce Bochy's a difference maker. The Mariners are in third place, 8 games out. They're only like a half game out of a wild card spot. They're going to need to catch fire a little bit. I had the Angels picked fourth, which they're in fourth. And I had Oakland picked last. And they are 31.5 games out first place. Oh, my God.
You're the predictor. You got that one. You nailed that one good. Well, I'm with you. I picked the Astros for first, and I think Dusty's done a great job this year. There's been some injuries. I don't think Abreu at first base has played as good as they.
No,
he's and there's talk that they're very interested in Goldschmidt, and I don't want to trade him, but if they give us they open up the treasure chest.
The pitching, man.
Yeah, give us some pitching. So if they had a Goldschmidt, add that to that team. Look out. Now, Tuve was hurt. I don't know if you remember, but in the World Baseball Classic, he got his hand broke. He missed the beginning of the year, and they're right there. They're only as of Monday, 3 games out. So the Astros, and with Dusty Baker pulling the strings, don't count them out. They're going to be good. I picked the Marlins for second, or the Mariners, I'm sorry. The Seattle Mariners for second, because last year they just came on so good, and there's still 2.5 months left. So that still could be a possibility, but right now they're in third place. Me and you had this flip-flopped. I had the Angels in third. I just thought everything with Ohtani, free agency coming up, and Trout healthy at the time, and Rendon healthy at the time, and things were they made some moves in the wintertime, but I was wrong. They're in fourth place. And the Rangers, I had in fourth, and man, I look dumb there. And you're right, Bruce Bochy, the moves they made, everything seems to be gelling. And they were the first team to make a move before the trading deadline. They went to Kansas City, had Chapman, they made a move for Chapman a couple weeks ago, and he's come in and looked really good. And that was their one kind of weakness there, was the end of their bullpen. If Chapman's any sign of what he used to be, and Bochy knows how to not overwork him, that could be a big move. And of course, the Oakland A's in last place. And I was right on that one too. So I got that one right.
You're Nostradamus.
Well, we picked the World Series winners. That was our next thing we picked. And I went with the National League having the Atlanta Braves, and that's a possibility, and the American League having the Toronto Blue Jays. And I picked the Blue Jays to win it in like 6 games. Still a possibility, but right now Toronto's pitching staff is going to have to pick it up.
I picked the San Diego Padres to win the World Series over the Seattle Mariners.
It's still hey, if they get hot, Vince, you'll look like a genius.
Yeah, well, we shall see. Do you remember who you picked for the awards?
Yes, I do. You want to start off one of them, the Cy Young, or
let's start with Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year. You got it.
I foolishly said that the Rookie of the Year, because I admitted on the podcast I was voting with my heart. The Rookie of the Year would be Hayden Wesneski, who has been up and down between the Cubs and Iowa. I whiffed at that. The American League, I had Masataka Yoshida, who was having a great year. He's hitting about 315. He's double-digit home runs, quite a few RBIs. I may get this one. So
I think you got a good shot at that one. Very good. And I don't blame you for picking the Cub. You're a great Cub fan, and that's what you are. You're loyal to your team, and that was hopeful thinking. But well, I did the same thing. I picked Jordan Walker, and although I don't think he's going to be the Rookie of the Year, he's had a pretty good season. He's hitting at 279, 9 doubles, 8 home runs, 26 RBIs. And remember, he went back to the minors for a while. He's played a lot better in the outfield. But in the National League, there's some really good players. That Corbin Carroll kid from Arizona looks like he's the front runner. He's looking fantastic. So there's about 4 or 5 guys. He could end up in the final 3 for Rookie of the Year, but right now I think he's just on the outskirts of that, about 5th best rookie in the National League. And then the other one I picked was what's my other pick? In the American League, I picked Gunnar Henderson, the third baseman from the Orioles, and I was off on that. He's done okay, 246 batting average. But you're right. The Red Sox kid, Yoshida, and Texas has a third baseman, Josh Jung, and I think he was an all-star this year.
Yeah.
So those 2 guys have much better. Henderson's on a good team, and he's coming along nicely, but he's not Rookie of the Year this year. So that was my picks for the Rookie of the Year.
Well, for Cy Young in the National League, I whiffed again. I had Julio Urias, who's been injured. So they ain't winning no Cy Young award this year. But in the American League, I did pick Garrett Cole, who is having a Cy Young caliber year. So,
well, my picks, I picked Logan Webb from the Giants for the National League, 8-7, a 3.11 ERA, 133 innings, 134 strikeouts, and only 23 walks. The 8-7, I think he is the best pitcher on that team myself. And I really
out the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's coming on strong, and it's going to be a pennant race. So hang on. I don't think he's in the top. He might be like the 8th if you pick the top 10 pitchers in the National League. He might be at the bottom of the top 10, but he's doing really good. And the Giants, he's anchoring that Giant staff. So there's still a chance on that one. And I'm with you, Vince. I went with Garrett Cole, who's right in the front. He's right there with it for the Cy Young. He's 9-2, anchoring that team. He takes the ball every 5th day. A 2.78 ERA, 123 innings pitched, 134 strikeouts, and only 35 walks. That's a great season right there. And Garrett Cole's the ace of that staff.
I messed up the MVP too. National League, I have Manny Machado.
I
He's
think
not
it's still
having the year.
well. He's coming on. He's done better. He's done better lately.
Well, unless the Padres kick it up into high gear and he goes completely crazy, he's not winning the MVP. In the American League, I have Aaron Judge, who has just had trouble staying on the field this year. He's produced really nicely when he's been on the field, but I was thinking he's going to have mid 50s, high 50s home runs this year. He's just not playing enough. So
he carried the Yankees last year. He carried
yeah.
that whole team. Well, I'm off on both of my picks, although I love both of these players. They're both third basemen. National League, I picked Austin Riley, and he's not even the best player on his team. Acuna Jr. and Arise might be the 1 and 2 guys for the MVP. But really Acuna is just having a heck of a year. But Austin Riley, a 261 batting average. He's doing okay, but not Acuna Jr. stats. And in the American League, everybody was picking Ohtani, so I picked Jose Ramirez as my MVP. And you got Ohtani over there, and I don't see anybody taking that away from him. But he's hit 285 with 14 home runs. His power's down. But Vince, you went to a game. We need to get you out there to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Every time you go, he was 3 home runs. The game
Every time I go to a game in Cleveland, he hits 3 home runs. It's amazing.
We gotta get you up there for a week. He'll be up there in the race then. And he's got a lot. He's an RBI machine. Jose Ramirez is just an RBI machine. He's got 54 already, and he's on a pace for over 100 again. So that was my picks, and there's a couple that could come true. But Vince, one thing I have to say is we're just as good as those baseball magazines. I think we're more accurate, to be honest with you, because they're way off on some of their picks.
Plus, we are better looking.
Oh, well, that's without saying.
Like I said at the beginning, I have baseball cards.
Yes.
What are you opening?
Well, I fell in love with these Allen Ginter cards, the ones that look like old time cards.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
I love those cards. So you never know what you're going to get. There's only 6 in a pack. I bought a whole box, so I'll be opening these for the next few times up. And the first one I have, I always wish the Cardinals would have got this guy, but Seattle pried him away from the Reds. Luis Castillo, the pitcher, there he is in his Reds uniform with Mr. Red on the sleeve. But he's doing a heck of a job for Seattle up there. We have the miniature card. Let's see who the miniature card is.
Eddie Goodell.
Oh, man.
Contact.
1/8. Yeah, very good, man. You're bringing back the short players. Yeah. This Pee Wee Reese. This is Jose Rodriguez from Seattle, who hit all those home runs in that round. That was incredible home run display, and he's the new face of the Seattle Mariners up there. So 2 Mariner players right there. And they say there's 5 cards in here, or 6 cards, but I only got 5. I'm right, my congressman. Yeah, what the heck? The next guy is a soccer player, Sam Mawoos. I don't know what the heck. I'm going to have to read why he's even got a card. What the heck? I got 4 cards now. That's outrageous. And the other 2 are 1965 MVP, National League, Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid right there. Yeah, there he is. Very cool. They do a lot of stuff, looking back in time and stuff like that. And the next one is, it's a part of the uniform. They cut part of the uniform, and it's Pete Alonso. Little thing there. So that's kind of cool. They got that. They found that a lot of fans, it raises the value of the card or something. I'm okay with it. So anyway, that's my pack, and I'm a little disappointed, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm doing a 1991 Fleer.
Ooh-wee.
Ultra baseball.
Memory lane.
Cards and 1 sticker.
What were you doing in 91? Where were you in 91?
I moved from Kansas City to Bethalto. I lived with my mother-in-law for about 4 months. And then I went to Belleville, Illinois.
Okay. All right. Good memories.
I got a Mariners sticker. I'll maybe put that here. I don't know.
Yeah, there we go. I like
it. Ooh, Now this is 1991.
Okay.
I have my first Hall of Famer, Ken
Griffey.
Griffey Jr.
Oh, very nice. The
Yeah.
kid. The kid.
Oh, former catcher for the Pirates, Don Slaught.
Oh, I remember Don. Yeah, nice career.
Former Twins pitcher, Rich Garces.
Don't remember him.
He
Don't remember him.
played on the 91 team that won the World Series. Oh, former Cardinals catcher, Tom Pagnozzi.
Played for the University of Arkansas. They drafted him out of Arkansas.
Nice. Oh, and here's also a former Cardinal, very good player, Greg Jeffries.
Greg Jeffries filled in nicely at first base for a couple of years.
He could hit. I mean, he wasn't a power hitter, but man, he's just a good hitter.
The Mets had a great minor league system, and it was like Dave Magadan and Jeffries and Isringhausen, and they had about 3 pitchers and 3 position players they thought were going to take them to the next level, and then they turned out to be okay.
Yeah. Former Cub, current Nationals manager, Dave Martinez.
Love Dave Martinez. Good man. Good baseball man.
Here's a man who is known for hitting a clutch home run in, gosh, which World Series was it? I think 95. I don't remember. Jimmy Leyritz.
Oh, yeah. Good player.
Another former Cardinal catcher, Spanky LaValliere.
Yeah. Very good.
Oh, former Cardinal.
What the heck?
Joe McGrain.
Joe McGrain. He's a broadcaster now.
Yeah, I love this guy. And if he wouldn't have got hit by a fastball in the temple by Mike Torres, he was on the verge of being an all-star. The year before that, he had 20 home runs as a shortstop in the Astrodome. So he was on his way. Dickie Thon.
Oh, Dickie Thon. Yeah. I didn't know that's what happened to him.
Yeah, Mike, opening day, Mike Torres threw a fastball that one of those that just gets away from you and got him right in the temple. I think he missed the whole year. And then when he came back, he was just a part-time player after that. Rangers shortstop, Jeff Hewson.
I remember the name. That's all.
I don't remember him. I don't think this guy's really a ball player. I think
they threw it like a soccer player. They threw that in there.
Yeah. Ooh. The greatest pitcher to come from Nicaragua, who once pitched a perfect game, Dennis Martinez.
El Presidente.
Holy cow. Another Ken Griffey Jr.
What the heck? Hey, man, this is, you got to play the lottery. Hey, it's a, what is it? Is it $1 billion? I don't know. It's a lot of money.
I don't know.
Yeah.
More money what I have. And here's a pitcher who had like 5-6 dominant years. And if he could have sustained certain Hall of Famer, big game pitcher, Dave Stewart.
Oh, yes. Dave Duncan for the A's and the Phillies. But Dave Duncan was the pitching coach that kind of turned his career around in the 420-game seasons in a row where he won 20 games.
Yeah. He won a World Series with the A's, and then he went to the Blue Jays and won a World Series, anchoring that rotation with Dave Steve and some of the other, gosh, what was his name? Jimmy Key. Yeah, they had
Jimmy
rotation.
Key,
yeah. So
I remember the thing I remember about him most in the playoffs. It was always he had a matchup against Roger Clemens. It's like the A's and the Red Sox, and he always beat Clemens. And Clemens was the man back then. Oh, that was great. That was great.
This is what I most remember about him.
Oh yes, that's there.
Have the glove right there, and just the stare, so intimidating. And every time I see him interviewed and everything, nicest guy. He's got a high pitched voice, you know.
Like Terry Funk is the same way. Mean, crazy looking guy. He's got the highest, nicest voice.
Yeah. All right. Well, JJ, we're halfway through the year. You guys have come out of the blocks a lot better than we have. I do hope you have a better second half of the year.
Thank you.
But I I see us both ending up doing some selling, simply because I don't think the division is worth trying to make a run at this year, because we're just not, neither of us are there. And
No,
the Brewers seem to be putting it together. The Brewers are a veteran team. Craig Counsell knows what he's doing. I just don't see them choking it away. So, but
it's going to be fun though. This is we were excited about opening day. We were excited down the stretch, the ups and the downs. The Cardinals had way more downs than ups so far. We got to both have young players that we're getting to look at and we're excited about in the future. The All-Star game, we both had representatives there that did well. Guys are having good years. Now the trading deadline, the pennant races, it's going to be fun. It's just exciting. I can't wait. The next 2 weeks is going to be fun to see who ends up where and what's going to happen for the rest of the year. So I'm excited, man.
All righty. Well, thank you. We will see you all next week.